Hey guys, so the purpose of this video is to discuss three of my Polish Radom VIS 35 pistols that I've acquired over the past couple of years. Now the history and development and usage of these pistols is covered very well by other milsurp channels, so be sure to check out videos by channels like Forgotten Weapons or the Milsurp Mike channel if you want to know more about these pistols. So I'll just quickly scratch the surface here in this video. Now, at first glance, when you're taking a look at these pistols, you might think that they're just a copy of the 1911 but chambered in 9mm Luger. However, the internals are quite a bit different, and the overall design was actually inspired by the early prototype of the Browning High Power. Now, this pistol was developed by Polish engineers in the early 1930s. At Fabryka Broni, which is translated as the state arms factory in Radom, Poland. And initially it was named the WIS, since the W is pronounced as a V in Polish, which is an acronym of the Polish designer's name, so spelled WIS. However, this name was later changed to the VIS, like VIS, which is a translation of force or power in Latin. Production of these pistols started in the year 1935, and in 1936 it was officially adopted as the standard sidearm of Polish infantry and cavalry officers. And in the later years it was adopted as the issued sidearm for armored and Air Force officers. And this pistol was intended to be a replacement for the Polish version of the Nagant revolver that was previously in use, which was actually also produced by FB Radom in Poland. After the fall of Poland in 1939, the Nazis took over oversight of production at Radom and continued production of the pistol, which they designated the P35P, with the P noting it as Polish. It is estimated that between 312,000 and 380,000 examples of this pistol were produced under Nazi occupation. And initially the first generation of German occupation produced pistols were of similar design to the Polish pre-war version of the pistol, which I'll throw up some photos here earlier, that had exceptional quality and fit and finish, with a different slide marking omitting the Polish national crest in lieu of a simplified marking on the slide. However, as wartime production dragged on, the Germans sought to speed up fabrication of these pistols, reducing the overall cost and cutting corners on machining and finishing operations, which degraded the overall look of the pistol, especially the last stitch variants, but even in those examples they remain very fine serviceable pistols. Now, I would absolutely love to own a Polish crested pre-war example. But these days those go anywhere from 5K at the low end for like a real beater example, all the way up to 8 or 9K for a very clean looking one. Similarly, the early production German examples, referred by collectors as the Type 1, have serial numbers either with no letter prefix or a letter prefix that is generally C or earlier. No, there are exceptions. And just to point out, those examples still share some of the Polish features, such as finger cutouts, the shoulder stock slot in the backstrap, and generally they look exceptionally well finished. Now let's turn our attention back to something that's actually affordable for the general collector. So the first two examples shown here and here are known to VIS collectors as a 3-lever Type 2 variant, as there is 3 levers on the pistols. There's the slide release lever, decocker lever over here, and the takedown lever or latch over here. So 1, 2, 3 levers. Now both of these were manufactured during mid-World War II, well into the period when cost-cutting measures were in place, so pre-World War II Polish and early German occupation features are omitted, such as the vestigial shoulder stock cutout in the backstrap. So other feature that was removed was elegant finger groove cutouts here in the trigger area on both sides of the pistol. Notice it's just kind of like a continuous line, so a milling operation was removed. And you can see on both of these pistols, the finish is leaves a lot to be desired, as you can see that there are still some rough machining marks that were not polished out before being blued. And obviously the deep, I guess, a dark blue bluing was replaced with more of a economical military metal gun gray bluing, although you can see in this P-block version that most of that original bluing has been worn off. And as previously mentioned, one of the simplification things that the Germans did was they kind of started eliminating some unnecessary machining operations to speed up production. So for example, over here on the left, this is a P serial block example, and this is a T serial block example on the right. So this one's earlier than this one. And if you can pay attention over here on just behind the sight, you'll see that the remainder of this slide rib over here has been machined off, but it was left in place over here on the T block, as you know, this really didn't affect the functioning of the pistol, and just by removing that milling operation you can speed up production. So the T block example came with a GI captured Radom P38 holster. This is the German design, and let's see, so this holds the spare magazine, and the pistol. And one thing that was kind of cool was when I open up the flap, you can see that it does have the GI's name and serial number over here, and it does have the P35P marking with B and Z over here. I was not able to make out a year, but that was a pretty cool feature. And I did notice that it does have a little repair over here, like a little rivet, and there's some holes over here for what I understand from taking a look at a reference book is a lot of GIs would attach some attachment points over here so that they can clip this thing onto a GI's belt. And lastly, I do have an example of a late war, probably late 1944, 2-lever Type 3 VIS 35 as well. Now this one is called a 2-lever because now we only have the slide release lever and the decocker lever with the takedown lever removed. And at this point you can see that the finish is an even rougher and poorer looking quality bluing, and there are some more machining marks on the metal. And as you can see, the takedown mechanism was simplified. What was done to simplify takedown is a notch was cut into the hammer to catch the slide, and the decocker lever has a dual function here of locking the slide back to the takedown position. So that removes the need for machining another part for the pistol for takedown. And additionally, you will see over here underneath where the decocker or takedown lever is, there's a sort of code written in there. And note that that's different than the serial number of the pistol. So if you do see this, don't worry, that doesn't mean that your pistol isn't matching. Another difference between the kind of mid-war and late war examples is the grip screws. So one thing you'll notice is that the size of the grip screw in the late war is a large kind of bushing style size screw, whereas in the earlier examples it's actually much smaller. Also, taking a look at the grips themselves, you'll see in this one it's kind of like a reddish brown Bakelite, whereas in the earlier war production it's black. So one thing to note is that there really is no correlation between the color of the grip and kind of the year or month of production. It's just kind of randomized. But there are later period pistols that have grip panels made out of pressed wood, which are rare, so if you have those, like, definitely take good care of them. Or like super last stitch examples that are made out of etched wood with a stripe texture. And next we'll kind of go over some of the meanings of the markings, serials, and Waffenamts that you'll see just on the German occupation produced examples. So if we start taking a look at the slide, we'll see that there is the German style of marking denoting the manufacturer and the patent number. There is a Waffenamt of Eagle over 623, denoting final acceptance at Steyr after final production. A German Eagle with a swastika firing proof. A Waffenamt over 77 indicating parts production at FB Radom. Again, on the frame there is the Waffenamt over 77 indicating parts manufacture at FB Radom. Serial number on the right side of the pistol with, again, another Waffenamt over 77. With the slide removed from the gun, if you look over here in the kind of next to the firing pin channel, you'll see the serial number stamped on the inside of the slide. And with the barrel removed, you'll see another proof mark over here on the tab of the barrel, as well as the last 3 digits of the serial number on the left side, and another Waffenamt on the right side of the barrel. On later war examples of the pistol, you'll also find the serial number stamped over here on the grip safety. Now, if you take a look at the bottom of the magazine right over here on this lip, you'll see that the magazines might have a Waffenamt or they might not. And if there isn't a Waffenamt, that means it was made at FB Radom. But if you see an Eagle over 189, that means that it was made by the Steyr satellite plant in Warsaw. I do want to point out one other thing that I was freaking out about when I started collecting these pistols is I noticed that when I looked over here in the recoil spring channel, there is kind of like a V-notch cut out there. So I first thought that the slide was damaged or chipped, but I was reassured by other collectors and, you know, taking a look at my other 3 that they all have this sort of notch in there. So, you know, if you're cleaning your pistol and you see that, you know, it looks a little jagged or whatnot, but that's totally normal. Now, if you are interested in these pistols or just, you know, firearms in general, I always recommend getting a reference book on the specific topic or firearm that you're interested in. What I've been really looking at is William York's VIS Radom book. This is the, I believe it's the 2nd edition that's now in color, which is amazing. And it has, you know, wonderful, you know, period photographs, detailed design development of each of the components, kind of an assessment of, you know, what serial number corresponded to a particular simplification of the design, you know, the accessories, and then really just kind of as the serial numbers change, like what features changed on each of them, and like as you can really kind of flip through this book and see how the overall fit and finish kind of deteriorated over time. And you know, it really kind of helps to take a look at these pictures and kind of get an idea of, you know, what your particular serial range should look like. You know, helps to determine if it was refinished, you know, if it's all parts matching, if anything was faked. So this is a really good investment, and for now this is still really affordable. So lastly, I want to touch on value in, you know, the current market, so to speak. So kind of going backwards in time, this T-Block 3-lever one, I purchased that one in, let's see, 2016, and this came with a spare magazine and this holster for about $600. Since then, Ian of Forgotten Weapons came out with a video on the VIS Radom, and I saw that the prices like skyrocketed. They nearly doubled soon after that, you know, partially because of the interest from that video and just general interest in World War II and collecting milsurps. So I kind of was priced out of buying any more because I try to spend, you know, well under $1,000 for any sort of milsurp. So then I guess prices seem to have kind of calmed down a little bit, and so in this year, in I guess you could call it mid 2022, I ended up picking up this Type 2 that came with a spare magazine. I suspect that this might have been a police evidence gun, because there's a weird kind of digit, a couple of digits that's stamped on the inside of the trigger guard and at the end of the barrel. This was around $745. And then I picked up this, let's see if I have room here. This last one, this is the P block, and came with a spare magazine for $700. So that was a really good deal, because each of the magazines, they typically go for around $200. So essentially I got a $500 gun here. So that was an extremely good deal. So, you know, definitely take a look at reference books to make sure that the pistol isn't refinished. And if you can nab it for, you know, under $1,000, I'd say you're doing a good deal. Anyway, happy collecting and happy hunting.